Ladies, gentlemen, NBs, I believe the time has come for me to change classes. Too long have I worn the charisma-based bard on this channel, doing performances and covering things for you. No, today I change to a witch, as I sacrifice everything of myself to my patron for the power. The power of shameless low-effort content. Welcome to reacting to Pathfinder 2E TikToks. So I may be 27 years old physically, but mentally I'm roughly a 50 to 60-year-old retired old man who enjoys watching Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy! TikTok is not really on my radar. I have some friends who make TikToks and I watch some compilations sometimes at most, but I've never really used it. I've made like 10 TikToks in 5 years. But I decided to look up Pathfinder 2E on TikTok, and as you can see, there's something. 5.2 million views in the world of TikTok is honestly nothing, so it's not like Pathfinder has a huge place on TikTok, but I watched the first 2 or 3, and I honestly kinda loved what I saw, so I figured, screw it. If the Markipliers, the Jacksepticeyes, and most importantly, the Jacobs, can get away with this, so can I. So honestly, let's just sit down, have a laugh, and see what happens. Maybe I won't even post this video. Who knows? So the video that actually made me commit to actually making this and realizing, oh hey, there is gonna be some funny stuff here, is this one.
Hey! What?
Just the freaking, the eyes kill me. I was watching this at first and I'm like, oh, this is a little cringy. But then the freaking eyes pop out.
What?
Again, it just works perfectly. What?
Okay, we're doing shot for shot. We get a dice that's not red, we stop. If not, then we spend a lot of money on a lot of red
Wait, is this like
D20s.
dice gotcha?
Let's go.
I know it's not specifically Pathfinder,
Alright, there we go.
but like...
First one's red. Yep.
Okay, so they're
20,
pulling until they
39.
get one that's not red.
Alright, he's got a 7. Alright, we'll both go until we both get something. Alright,
Alright.
33.
Wait.
Kidding me?
Is this company selling
my
like
gosh.
gotcha random dice?
Gosh, dang
But
it.
they're like
I
all the
got 8.
same
What do you
red
got?
D20.
Okay.
I mean, he's got 2 silvers, but
man. Still got
why has there been
another
6,
red. Another red.
7 reds?
I'm at 41.
What is this?
Okay, here we go. Nope.
Is this actually what I'm thinking of? Like, am I understanding this
I
right?
got
Because
another
if
red.
so, that
What'd
is pathetic. If they're all
Last ones, I
random
don't think I
dice,
got it.
but they're all
And I'm not hopeful.
red, that's horrible. Can you pull a non-red
What's that?
dice?
Come on out, mine's red. Nah.
Bueno, para ser honesto, Oscar, yo te veo muy calmado.
I don't know what he's saying, but nothing makes me laugh more than internal screaming as a meme. This is something that so many people would just write off like, no, that's stupid. But it just kills me.
Today I'd like to talk about Pathfinder 2nd Edition.
Interesting.
So you
I
guys
didn't know
me,
people
I
were just
love
like
Pathfinder 1st Edition.
talking
But she's
on
a little
TikTok.
chunky on the rules.
I thought TikTok was like
Alternatively,
30-second
5th edition,
funny
while
clips.
I love the system, is very light on the rules. 2nd Edition is a nice happy medium between the two, and I'm upset I really
agree.
haven't got a chance to play it more.
I didn't think
My
I'd get a
absolute
chance to just,
favorite
like,
mechanic
react
in this game
to
that we're talking about today.
concepts
is the
here.
3
All right.
action economy system. So in 5th edition, you have a move action, you have a action, you have bonus actions, reactions. In Pathfinder, you have a movement action, an attack action, a full attack action, immediate action, swift actions, movement. There's a lot. But this is actually a super cool way to do it. So 3 actions, and you can do whatever you want in those actions. For 2 actions, a fighter can use power attack or sudden charge. Disarming stance gives you a plus to disarm your enemies. A monk can use an action to switch in a dragon stance, or mountain stance, or tiger stance. Every single one of these does something different and amazing and just turns on. And by the way, those are just level 1 abilities. The level 14 one lets you do a Kamehameha. It's a wind crash and you go 30
Everyone
foot
loves the
60 foot line.
Kamehameha. So no one tell about Horizon Thunder Sphere.
Spells are where these get really interesting. For example, the heal spell. So it typically heals.
This
like
is something that
1d8
people
plus
don't talk
however
about
many d8 for
enough.
whatever
They talked about it
level
a lot at
you
the
are.
launch
You
of the
cast it
system,
using one action.
but people
The
have
only
not
component-
talked about the variable action spells enough. Pretty much everyone defaults to Magic Missile for this. But yeah, Heal, Scorching Ray in the APG. There's so many cool spells that you can cast with 1, 2, or 3 actions, gaining additional effects for each action spent. Super cool, makes combat a lot more dynamic, and even I don't talk about that often enough, personally. Yo, it's the squad over at Collective Arcana. Let's go. Are you making a little Cthulhu moo? It says Cthulhu in your tags. All right, this is 2 years old, but you know what? This hits so much harder in August. Just randomly watching a Christmas TikTok. Let's go, Collective Arcana. If you haven't already seen them, check them out. I don't know. Maybe I'll put a link in the description if I remember. They're a really fun Pathfinder 2e channel.
I have been freelance editing and writing Pathfinder and Starfinder products for over a year straight. I recently had an encounter with a man who tried to tell me how a D20 works.
Oh?
He then tried to explain the difference between peso and watt. When I corrected him and told him that Pathfinder 2e was not a carbon copy of 5e, he told me he was a peso dev.
Dude, I love peso.
Funny, Kevin, I don't think I've ever worked with you, and I'm pretty sure there's no peso office in Nebraska.
Funny, Kevin, I don't think I've ever worked with you. What a power response. I love that. What are people doing pretending to be devs, like, on the internet? People have been doing this for, like, decades now, you know? Even all the way back to... My uncle works at Nintendo. He made Mario Brothers. So, yeah, no, I know how to unlock Luigi in Mario 64. It says so on the fountain. This is hilarious. Not only, like... trying to call Pathfinder a copy of D&D, but also pretending to work for the company? Like, yeah, I made this game. Oh, no, I hate this game. No, I made it, but I hate it. It's the same as D&D. That no one should ever play it, but I made it.
This is an early reminder that after Christmas, all of the wrapping paper will be going on clearance, which means you can stock up so that you can have easy and ready-to-use battle maps for your D&D campaigns.
Wait, that is the biggest brain thing I've ever seen. Hold on, wait. Wrapping paper is always gridded on the back for lining things up. I think some of it has, like, really big grids, so it might not be super useful, but I know there's some wrapping paper out there that has, like, really thin grids on the back. That's 5 brain. That is 5 brain right there. I'm keeping that in mind this year. I'm sure if I spoke Russian, this would be incredibly insightful. Unfortunately, I don't.
I feel I do my best, but they don't.
Let me ask you a very fair question. What do you do successfully? Quickly.
It's just a wizard with a stronger familiar. I'm sorry, witch. You're just a wizard with a stronger familiar. Like, I guess you can use any tradition, but I feel like at the end of the day, the witch is just a worse wizard with arcane, a worse cleric with divine, a worse druid with primal, and a worse bard with occultism. They just get a fancy pet. But for some people, that's enough.
We're choosing a little bit of violence today. Pathfinder players, there is a large percentage of you that will go from playing only D&D to only Pathfinder and then won't shut up about how much better it is.
You know what? You're right. There was also a huge amount of people who went from playing D&D 3.5 to D&D 4 and won't shut up about how much better it is. And then D&D 5 and then won't shut up about how much better it is. It's like people justify their choices. I'm not defending these people. People who switch to a new game or system and instantly diss on people not playing that system, they're kind of scummy, not gonna lie. Like, you're more than welcome to just play your favorite system every 10 years, change systems, and play one game. Completely fine. But don't, like, insult or berate others for doing that with a different game. There are people who still play a D&D exclusively, and as long as they're quiet about it, like, I don't mind, as long as they're not telling me a D&D is superior and you're all sheep for playing the newest one and buying all the new books. Like, I don't get that mindset. Like, whatever, you can play a D&D, that's fine, it doesn't affect my table. At the same time, I don't know why my table should affect your AD&D game. It's not just a Pathfinder problem. I know I made that video a while back, and that was me just trying to be a representative of the Pathfinder 2e space. But it's not just Pathfinder. I know a lot of people thought I was saying in that video that it's just Pathfinder. It's not. That's not at all what I was trying to portray. I know it could have come across that way, and for that I apologize. But yeah, no, it's every single group of people in every single genre of every single game, of every single hobby. There are people who argue about sewing versus crocheting. You know, there's literally nowhere you can go in this world where people will not argue over what they're doing being the right choice, and that's why war happens.
As a player, your most important choice is what class will you play, because it determines what your character is going to be able to do. In D&D 5e, there are 13 classes to choose from, 12 in the player's handbook, and Artificer. Each one of those also
Sorry, it's just really funny to hear. 12 in the player's handbook, and Artificer. I'm so used to Pathfinder where it's like 10 in the core rulebook, 4 in the APG, 2 in Secrets of Magic, but in D&D, I honestly forget that they've never added a class besides Artificer, and that just kind of catches me off guard.
also has at least 4 subclasses that are available to it. Pathfinder 2e also has 12 classes in its base rulebook, but then it added 4 in the Advanced Player's Guide, 2 in Secrets of Magic, 2 in Guns and Gears, and 2 in the Dark Archive for a grand total of 22.
Mm-hmm. With
Each
one
of
more on
their
the way.
classes has their own unique feats, abilities, and their own things, in addition to, occasionally, some subclass stuff. I don't think that one's really better than the other here. However, I do feel that the subclass system in 5e basically is what makes up for the lack of class choice.
Totally fair. Yeah, no, if you consider all of the 5e subclasses as different classes, then absolutely it makes up for it. It's just a shame you don't get most of those until level 3. But again, for a lot of people, I don't want to say railroad, but the choosing of a path, ironically, in D&D, is a lot easier for them. You know, you are a fighter until level 3, and then you either take the Battle Master path or the Eldritch Knight path or something like that, and then you follow that to 20 or until you multiclass. Where in Pathfinder 2e, every single level is basically a branching path of feat selection. Now, the paths can reconvene, and they twist and turn and whatever, but it's a lot more customization, and a lot of people don't need that, and I absolutely respect that. So unfortunately, that's about it today. There are more videos with the PF2 tag on it, but they also had the D&D tag, and most of them tended to be videos about D&D, also trying to capitalize on the Pathfinder market, and I'm guessing there is more PF2 content here on TikTok. It just happens to have the D&D tag first, because honestly, the D&D tag will get you way more traction. I would love to see more Pathfinder 2e on TikTok or skits on YouTube and stuff like that, because there's a lot of room for comedy, and I would love to see more of it so I can steal it for shameless content and put a video together like this in an hour. But for real, there was some really funny stuff. There was some good conversations to be had, some less good conversations to be had. It's an interesting space, and I think there's room on TikTok for more Pathfinder discussion. So I made a video about this a while back, but if you've been considering making any content about Pathfinder or something like that, whether it be on YouTube, Twitter, TikTok, just do it, you know? Get on there and start. Especially right now, Pathfinder is still such a niche on TikTok that there's totally room for you. That's what I did with my YouTube channel. There was so little content on YouTube about Pathfinder that I jumped in there, and it got me off to a really lucky start. There's still room for that on TikTok. So that's it for me today. Shout out to my patrons for keeping the channel alive and letting me do stupid stuff like this once in a while. I appreciate all of you. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, no nat ones.